this month's issue of Shutter Magazine. I'm Phillip Blume, and welcome to Blume Photography Studios. This is a completely new direction for us. You ought to know that studio photography was nothing that we ever planned to get into. And I'm a big believer that a studio should not be your ultimate goal, not this day and age. Brick and mortar are great. They seem to give you some credibility, perhaps, but certainly your most important storefront is your website. Ours currently is, if you see it in November, it's not going to look too great. If you see it at the end of December, we're having Show It completely redesigned for a brand that's going to match this studio. So I think that's your most important place to put your marketing dollars, your branding dollars. But if you do have a studio, or if you have the opportunity to build a studio, there's certainly some specifications, some things that you'll want to plan to have as part of that. Some of those things are north-facing windows. We had the ability to build this place from the ground up, and so we positioned it north-facing so that we have indirect soft light coming through all day long. No matter what time of day we schedule a session, we know we're not going to have glare or light rays coming through and spoiling a shot. So that's one great advantage. Another thing is, if at all possible, make sure if you're shooting in your studio that you have ceilings at least 10 feet tall. Now, our home is actually built over this basement studio, so it's not typical to have 10-foot tall ceilings in a basement. It was a specification that we made when we were building. The interesting thing is we didn't know when we would have a studio down here. It wasn't in our immediate plans, but I believe that you should always be thinking forward, keeping opportunities open for yourself if possible. About just a few months ago now, the biggest studio in our town here in Athens, that has been around since before I was born, shut its doors and began sending leads our way. So some of those connections that we had made, relationships that we made with other photographers, panned out in the end, and that they trusted us, even though we didn't have a studio at the time, to take on the workload that they were leaving behind. And that we just saw as an opportunity to open the studio and make it happen kind of earlier than perhaps our long-term goals. Another thing you'll want for sure is an area for packaging. If you're investing your business in artwork sales account for, I think it's about 70% of our income. So I believe you should really take advantage of the opportunity to profit on the hard work that you're doing, the artwork you're creating. So a lot of artwork comes through our studio, and that means that you need a space to lay it out without making a mess. Certainly it used to be across our dining room table, and now it's lovely to be able to have a room dedicated to shelves of different packaging materials, all of that branded as well, of course, all part of the experience that clients come in for. But all of those things that can make your studio convenient or successful, to me, they miss the goal if you don't have a purpose in your business. And for us, the ultimate purpose of wanting to build a studio, before we ever had plans of doing studio photography as a genre, was workshops for photographers right here in our home, so that we could give photographers an end-to-end look at what we do as part of our business model and our shooting style and everything. So we're really looking forward to having community workshops here, shooting out in the beautiful rural land around us, dinner around the table with you photographers, and I hope that many of you will be a part of that as we start to announce dates soon. So we're looking forward to having you here at Blume Studios, and keep an eye out on our newsletter for early announcements and discounts on registration for that as well. In the meantime, we'll always see you right here at Shutter Magazine. I'm Phillip Blume, and thanks for reading. Have a good week.